You poor thing. You must be exhausted.
Oh, no, I don't mind the night shift. Although last night was a little longer than usual. We had a jumper on the North Street Bridge.
Jumper? You mean somebody tried to dive into the river?
Well, somebody was threatening to dive. He climbed as high as he could and told the rescue guy that he said he wasn't going to speak to anybody but Sally. Of course, nobody knew who Sally was, so Calvin thought I would be a reasonable facsimile.
Deborah, you didn't have to climb that bridge.
No. When he saw me, he climbed down and decided I was Sally. By the time he realized I was somebody else, I had him by the leg.
What an exciting life you lead.
Yeah. Although last night was a little bit more exciting than usual. And it was so cold. Can you imagine how cold it is out on a bridge at 3 in the morning? Oh, I cannot wait to go home. Forgot I've got to file a report to Calvin before I can go home. Go to bed.
Now I feel awful for asking you to meet me here.
No, I'm glad you did. I'm hungry. You've got to go to work now, too, don't you?
Yeah, well, that's the movie business for you. I have to rehearse a scene with Nola, and I can tell you that I am not looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, I am very nervous about it.
Stage fright?
Nola knows that you and I have seen each other, Deborah.
So what?
Well, she takes it to mean that I'm on your side, that I sympathize with you, that I approve of your seeing my father.
Look, that...
I know that it isn't a matter of side. It doesn't matter if I approve or don't approve. But besides all that, Nola has decided that I am working against her. So, I'm afraid of her. I'm afraid for myself and afraid for you.
Paige, the last thing I want is to be a source of friction between you and your stepmother. I know I'm creating enough of a problem between Owen and her.
Deborah, I didn't ask you here to complain about it.
Well, it's true, just the same. I know I could stop this relationship if I wanted to, but I just don't want to.
Well, neither does Daddy, needless to say.
I know both of us could stop it in 1 minute if we wanted. Maybe I should.
No. Deborah, not for my sake. You'd only be hurting Daddy. Oh, God, you've been his reincarnation.
It sounds like something right out of the movie.
It's the only word I could think of. He's been very happy, and it's not just working on the movie. It's his thoughts about you that are keeping him alive. And you didn't steal him from Nola. Two of them were so far apart, long before you came. I guess I'm not helping you too much, am I?
Look, I know you want what's best for your father. Believe me, I do too. I've got to go to work, Paige.
Yeah, and I've got to get over to the studio to rehearse with that old witch. Check, please.
Oh, sure.
So there's a rehearsal right before mine that I'm real anxious to see how it goes.
What is it?
Well, it's an audition, really, and we're trying out a new actor for the part of Nicholas Harriman, or the Devil. He looks terrific, except he's got no acting experience at all.
Anybody I know?
Well, you went to a party at his penthouse before he and his wife split up.
You're not talking about Elliot Dorn.
Nola thinks he'd be perfect for it.
Elliot as an actor? Why not? He's good looking, and he is a very good actor.
What do you mean?
I knew Elliot a long time ago, very well, when he first moved to Monticello. He was the leader of a quasi-religious youth cult called the Children of the Earth. It was a phony, needless to say, and only a very good actor could have made it work.
A very savory character, is he?
I thought he'd reformed when he married Margot, started running the Unicorn.
Well, now it seems that the marriage is over and so is the job. And Nola seems to think he would be perfect for the movie. We need an actor. God knows the money is killing us. So thanks.
Sure.
So, Deborah, I'm glad you could meet me here. I really feel like we're closer.
Yeah, I hope we can be. No matter what happens between your father and me, I hope we can be friends.
Yeah.
I've got to run.
Oh, let me take care of it, please.
Okay.
And Deborah? Be careful.
Why do you say that?
Oh, hey, what's, you're climbing on bridges in the middle of the night, right?
Just relax, Mr. Dorn. I can assure you, you're among friends. I don't believe you've met Chris Rafferty, who'll be playing Tom.
How do you do?
Hi. Willard Macefield, who'll be working with you this morning.
Oh, Mr. Macefield, what a pleasure. I've seen you on screen many times.
And if my instinct is right, we'll be seeing you together on screen in Mansion of the Damned.
What do you think about that, Mr. Dorn?
Well, Mr. Reinhardt, I don't think it's at all impossible with a director like you. They seem to be able to make actors out of anybody these days.
Yeah, well, why don't we begin?
You've read the scene, Mr. Dorn?
Oh, I've read the entire script, Mr. Reinhardt. I think I've memorized the scene.
Well, that's a good beginning.
Well, now, don't push too hard. We're just trying to get an idea now as to whether your image will fit the role.
Oh, I think the image is just perfect.
The performance is still a question mark.
All right, then let's begin, Mr. Dorn. Wally, would you turn these chairs around for me, please? Now, as you know, Willard plays the role of Hester Atherton's attorney and Mr. Wayland, and he doesn't like you too much. In fact, he distrusts you. And in this scene, that distrust is turning to something more serious. All right? Did you put it? Okay.
Should I begin?
Anytime you're ready.
Yes, I've examined the books, Mr. Wayland. You were quite honest about the mill. It taught us on the edge of bankruptcy.
I do not believe I said any such thing.
If wages weren't so pitiful, Mr. Wayland, if innocent little children were not employed at your looms for pennies a day, the mill would have closed its doors long ago.
Sir, this mill is run in accordance with the labor laws of this state and the laws of humanity.
He that maketh haste to be rich shall not be innocent. I'm sorry, Mr. Wayland. I have a habit of quoting scripture.
Mr. Harriman, I have never advised my client that the mill must be sold. So if you are not interested...
Oh, I did come to Salem to make a purchase. I'm simply not sure it's the textile mill I wish to buy.
There are other properties for sale.
I'm well aware of that, Mr. Wayland.
It appears that our conversation is at an end. Tell me, Mr. Harriman, why is it you make no sound?
I beg your pardon?
I have noticed you make no sound when you walk, not even on hardwood floors. There is a silence about you that does not seem to be natural.
I try to be as quiet as possible, Mr. Wayland. You see, well, the place where I come from is filled with noise. It's absolutely hell.
I think he's just perfect, Owen. I'm so glad. And I always did like a handsome leading man.
Mr. Dorn, thank you very much for coming out today.
I think you were wonderful, Elliot, really. I thought you were very professional, didn't you, Owen?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it was a good job. Oh, remarkable, really.
Thank you, Mr. Madison. Well, I'll leave you to discuss your decision with your associates, and I'll be on my way.
We won't keep you waiting long. Do we know how to get in touch with you?
Well, I'm rather at loose ends at the moment, so maybe I should call you.
Oh, well, how about this evening? We'll be at home then.
Oh, that'll be fine, Mrs. Madison.
Oh, please, call me Nola. We'll have to be on friendly terms, especially if we work together.
Very well, now, that'd be the greatest of pleasures. Well, gentlemen, nice having met you.
I really think he was very good, Jason, didn't you?
Yes, do tell us, Jason. What did you think of him?
Well, no subtleties, of course, but then he hasn't been directed yet. Well, I don't think he'll be bad at all, Owen.
All right, well, we'll talk about it later. Oh, and here comes Paige. Hey, hi. How are you, darling?
Oh, you're too late to see Mr. Dorn's audition.
Oh, what
But
a
in
shame.
time for your own scene, darling.
What a pity. How was he?
I thought he was marvelous.
Paige, are you ready to do your scene with Chris?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Chris?
All set, Mr. Ryman.
Okay, Wally, would you strike these chairs, please? All right, as you both know your roles. Now, you're playing Tom Halifax, the young rogue, and Paige, you are the innocent, demure Patience who has very little knowledge of the world. All right? Dorothy, I want a timing on this, please.
Yes, Mr. Reinhardt.
Okay. And places. Action.
So your name is Patience. That always reminds me of a verse, do you know?
No.
Patience is a virtue. Patience is a grace. Patience is a little girl with dirt on her face. Not exactly Lord Byron, is it?
I know very little of poetry. The sisters didn't like it.
Oh, not like poetry. It's like saying you don't care for love. Then, of course, they didn't, did they?
Well, they spoke of love all the time.
Yes, but they didn't mean by love what you and I mean by love. Well, you're blushing, Patience. I thought only schoolgirls blushed. And you're out of school now.
Mr. Halifax, I have to prepare supper.
Ah, so you're the cook, are you?
I do whatever I can to help Miss Atherton.
Ah, cook, clean, make the beds.
Yes,
Mop the floor, polish the furniture, dust and scrub.
whatever I can to help.
I thought you were a guest in this house, Patience, not a servant.
Miss Atherton's been very kind to me.
And you're repaying her kindness well.
I asked for these chores. Miss Atherton has been very good to me. She gave me a home when I had none. I'd prefer to keep busy.
Oh, the devil finds work for idle hands. Is that what the sisters taught you?
They taught us that work was an expression of love.
Ah, there's that word again. What a shame they had the meaning all wrong. I hope you know its most important definition. You're old enough to know.
Mr. Halifax, I have to prepare supper.
You're yet to find your first love, isn't that true?
Miss Atherton will be looking for me.
Do you know what Lord Byron wrote about a woman's first love? He said in her first passion, a woman loves her lover. In all others, all she loves is love. Let me have that privilege, Patience, to be your first passion.
At this point, Noel, of course, you'll make your appearance. You'll be in the doorway, unseen. Your eyes are blazing with jealousy.
Oh, that won't be easy for me, Jason. You see, I'm not the jealous type.
Well, I still don't know what to do about this Glenboro thing. There's no way you can convince me that the studio out there has ghosts in it. You know what I think? I think that there's a hidden door or entrance. And nobody knows about it except a bunch of kids or vagrants, and they keep sneaking in. That's what I think.
I don't see why you're so worried about it. I mean, it's out of our jurisdiction, right? Why not just leave it to the local boys?
Yeah, I know. The only reason I got interested in the damn thing was because of Owen Madison.
I know. Favor for a friend, right?
Yeah, right.
Only now you're not so sure that he is a friend, right?
Calvin, I have nothing against Owen.
Oh, sure.
No, I mean it. I'm not sore at the guy for dating Deborah. She's a very special person.
Well, you were ready to punch Cliff Nelson out for the same thing.
Oh, that's different. I'd like to punch Cliff Nelson just on general principles.
That's beginning to sound like police brutality.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Eddie Vaughn, he's the press agent out there. I told him I couldn't do anything for him. If he believes the studio is full of ghosts, he's gonna have to find him a ghost hunter, not a cop.
I thought he already had one.
Nah, he just got April Scott to walk around out there with a candle until she convinced herself she actually saw something.
You gotta be kidding. You mean Draper actually let her do that?
Sure, why not? Look, they paid her $1,000. Can you imagine that? And here they are, they're gonna have a kid, right? Well, they can use the money, believe me.
Yeah, how about that? Can you see old Draper as a daddy?
Well, I can see you as a daddy. Hey, by the way, when are you all setting the wedding date?
Oh, no hurry to set the wedding date. It took long enough just to get engaged.
Calvin, I'll tell you something. You are one lucky fellow.
And don't I know it?
Yeah. You could have been seeing a woman who put her career ahead of everything else.
Hey,
Oh, well, speak of the devil.
what's this about a devil?
Oh, we were just talking about the movie, Mansion of the Damned.
Yeah, did you know that the studio was haunted by ghosts?
Oh, yeah. Owen thinks it's just a lot of baloney.
Not in front of the chief.
Anyway, here's the report on the jumper.
Thank
Don't
you.
mind the mistakes, Calvin. I can hardly keep my eyes open.
Yeah, you look terrible. Go home and get some rest.
Thank you.
Had a tough night?
Read the report. See you guys later.
Deborah, wait a minute. Look, if you're pretty tired, maybe you shouldn't drive.
That's okay, Steve. I'm fine.
How about a cup of coffee? Wake you up.
Oh, well, I already had two with your client, ex-client, Paige Madison.
Paige? Oh, you're seeing Paige, huh?
Yeah, why not?
Well, no reason. I guess you should get familiar with the whole family.
So long.
Hey, can you imagine her being Paige Madison's stepmother?
Quiet, everybody. Okay, we'll take it from the top of scene 25. Ready, ladies?
I'm ready.
I am too.
Just relax, honey. It's only a rehearsal.
Sure.
Well, don't relax too much. I want to see a little tension here. Now, remember, Hester has just seen you being kissed by Tom Halifax, and she's plenty sore. Yeah. Okay? Put the watch on this, please.
Fine.
And action.
Go on, Patience. And what else did you do this afternoon?
I mended your ball gown, Cousin Hester. The black lace one, you said the hem needed some work. I hope I did it correctly.
Well, that was very kind of you, Patience, but I did tell you I have a very fine seamstress.
Yes, but since you wouldn't let me clean out the fireplace, I wanted to do something.
Cleaning fireplaces is a far too demeaning labor for a young and delicate girl. You'll have me accused of turning you into Cinderella if you persist. And that, of course, would put me in the role of the wicked stepmother. I wouldn't relish that.
I was just trying to be helpful.
Then go on. Tell me what else you did. What did you do next?
I made the beds.
And then?
I went to prepare supper.
Surely there was one more thing you did this afternoon.
I can't remember.
Oh, well, let me see. Maybe I can think of it. Oh, yes. Yes, you flirted with my fiancé.
No, never.
And it wasn't the first time, was it? You've been flirting with him since the day you came into this house, waiting for every opportunity to be alone with him.
That isn't true.
I've seen your eyes having rendezvous across the dinner table. I've heard your veiled invitations.
No. Cousin Hester, if you mean when he offered to accompany me to the greengrocer, it was just because it was dark out.
Oh, yes. And what happens when it grows dark? When I'm alone in my room, and you, presumably, are alone in yours, does there come a gentle tapping on your door?
No, never.
I saw you kiss him, you harlot! I saw you!
Nola! That's enough!
Really, I'm fine.
May I bring you some water, my dear?
Oh, yes, please, thank you.
Okay.
For God's sake. No, what on earth do you think you were doing?
Oh, and I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to me. I couldn't seem to control myself.
She's all right, Noah. Just a little shaky, but I think we better call
fine,
her.
Jason. Just send everyone home.
Okay, that's it, everybody.
Do you realize that you could have killed her? You could have choked her to death.
I didn't mean it, Owen. It wasn't me.
What?
I couldn't seem to remember where I was or who I was for that moment. I had no control of my own hands. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Bailey? Mr. Bailey!
I'm coming!
Mr. Bailey, Did you let the meter reader into my apartment again?
No. It was a painter. I wanted to take a look at that bathroom ceiling.
I thought I asked you never to let anybody into my apartment.
Well, I was with him the whole time. He didn't take nothing.
Well, you forgot to lock the door on your way out.
Ah.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind, and frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our hearts trying to hold the tenderness that we once had, halfway glad and halfway sad, the edge of night.
Where'd we get the flowers?
Oh, our guest had them sent over. Aren't they gorgeous?
Should have known. Margot never forgets anything. I suppose we're going to be getting a lot of flowers now, since we'll probably be having her over for dinner more often.
Well, I think we should. We haven't exactly been very nice to her now, have we?
You know why we haven't had her over for dinner. I didn't want her around, and you didn't want Elliot.
Well, we don't have to worry about Elliot now. He's out of her life for good.
Yeah. She's right smack in the middle of ours. All right. Like I said, I'd be polite to
That's
her,
right.
and I will be.
Okay.
I'll do whatever I have to do to try to get along with her. Just don't expect any overnight miracles, all right?
Oh, do I detect a chip on someone's shoulder?
It's hard to forget that she did deceive me about buying the house and everything else she did. And now she's trying to buy a baby.
Come on, Draper.
All right. Didn't mean to bring it up.
You're right. I mean, it's okay. Draper, I do not expect you to change your attitudes towards Margot overnight. I don't. But you did say that you were going to try. And I'm just hoping that tonight's the first night. Please?
Mr. Carr, I'm David Henson.
Mr. Hanson, nice to meet you.
Sorry to be late, but you're a lawyer yourself, and you know what can happen at the office at the last moment.
I see that Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside is no different than Carr and Scott.
Scott? Oh, yes, of course. Draper Scott. That's the young man I'm supposed to have been so nasty to. Waiter?
Yes, it's just a one-day trip, a flying visit, I guess you'd call it. I have a client who's involved in a joint action, half of which is in New York. Fortunately, it was easily resolved.
Lucky man. I'm finding my cases more and more difficult to resolve.
Maybe it's my age. Oh, I doubt that.
Or maybe it's your competence. I've been hearing a lot about you during the past few months when your name came up as a candidate for our criminal law division.
I hope you know that I was quite flattered by that offer.
Yeah, but you turned it down anyway. You did know that the man has not been found. We've been through 3 possible candidates since Mr. Scott, since that time, and none of them has satisfied us. They didn't have your integrity.
Well, if you think my request to see you had anything to do with my interest in that job, I'm afraid you're wrong.
I will say this. If you did decide to take it, you'd have our unanimous approval. You could start immediately.
I haven't changed my mind. I still intend to keep my practice and my home in Monticello. But I do know that Draper Scott would be willing to relocate if he got the unanimous approval of the partners.
But as you know, he didn't get that.
Yes. But from what I understand, it was almost unanimous. There was just one partner who disagreed and whose judgment was highly regarded by the other partners.
Meaning me, of course.
You did say no to Draper, didn't you?
Yes, I did say no.
And you did that without ever meeting him. Now, that's the part that surprises me most.
Well, I assure you, Mr. Carr, that young Scott was not the only candidate that we rejected without a personal confrontation. Why, just the last man that we were considering, somebody from San Francisco, we all decided that there was no point in bringing him to New York.
But you did bring Draper here, and you were the only one who didn't approve.
Well, I had my reasons. I found out some things about the young man that, let's say I had valuable input from a person I respected.
A person you respected? Just one person, right?
All right. One person who knew the young man very well and whose judgment I respected.
And that person was his mother-in-law, wasn't it? Mr. Henson, you may consider that information privileged, but I don't, because I think you were very much misled.
Misled?
Yes, because if you received information that Draper was unfit for the job, that he was too rash, callow, inexperienced, that simply isn't true. That was spoken out of sheer bias, prejudice, and special interest.
That's quite an accusation. Do you know Margot? Oh, you did get that out of me, didn't you, Counselor?
Yes, I know Margot. And I also know that she was desperately worried about losing her daughter if her son-in-law left the city that she had made her home. And that, Mr. Henson, that was the only reason she said what she did about Draper.
I find that very hard to believe.
A moment ago, you were praising my reputation for integrity.
Now, look, I'm not saying that you're lying.
I'm neither lying nor misjudging. Believe me, I have no axe to grind in this matter. On the contrary, if Draper did come to New York, I'd lose a valued associate. But I still feel he should get another shot at that job. What happened was wrong. What Margot did was wrong. And Mr. Henson, I'm afraid the same thing applies to you.
Well, Nancy, I hope you don't mind eating in a place like this. I know you and Mike are much more used to eating at Armando's or the Coach House.
Oh, this is charming. Charming, Deborah. I mean, I'm delighted to find a place also that has main dishes for under $5.
They don't have very many of those, but the food is good. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Your apartment is nearby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right around the corner. I'd ask you up, except the maid hasn't come in today, and it's a little messy.
What was that you started to tell me on the phone? Was it robbed?
Yeah, no, as a matter, I wish it was.
Oh, it wasn't a burglar?
No, if it was a burglar, he was a very choosy one. Maybe I ought to be insulted. He didn't find anything worth taking. He didn't even take the cash.
Really? Or maybe he was frightened away.
No, I don't think he was frightened away. I think he was trying to frighten me. At least that's Steve's theory.
Oh, he thinks it's malicious vandalism?
Exactly. There are quite a few people around town who feel malicious toward me.
Really? Oh, you mean people you may have arrested?
Yeah. Anyway, I got a police lock installed, so I don't have
You
to...
mean the police lady has finally got a police lock?
Well, at least it'll keep my super out of the room, keep him from bringing in painters or whatever.
Yeah, that must have been very unnerving for you.
It was. Like I said, at least robberies are understandable.
Deborah, when you called, you said you wanted my advice about something?
Yeah, Nancy, I am badly in need of advice.
Owen Madison?
Owen Madison, he's talking about divorcing his wife. That scares the hell out of me. He told me that he was going to talk to Nola about getting a divorce. And I don't want to be any part of that.
What, did he say that you were?
Well, not in so many words, but I'm sure that I'm a big part of the decision. It's as if his divorce would mean my commitment. And the thing is, I can't do anything to stop him.
No, of course you can't. But there is one thing you can do.
What?
Well, you can tell him that, make it perfectly clear to him that his decision should have nothing to do with your relationship. I mean, he should act completely on his own, as if you two had never met.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think he would ever have thought of divorcing Nola if it hadn't been for me.
You should talk to him for your own sake.
Yeah. I have to make sure he acts on his own.
What's the matter?
Just a minute. I'll be right back.
Sure.
Hello, Benny. How you doing? You haven't finished your spaghetti yet.
I'm on a diet.
You're on a diet. Well, you look like maybe you need a little exercise. Let's say we find you some heavy housework to do. Maybe in my apartment? Or were you already there?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never been in your apartment.
Come on, Benny, you've been in my building a million times. What do? Peddle dope door to door?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do stuff like that. The only thing I peddle is flowers from the shop.
You know, I saw you on my roof the other day. What were you trying to do, get in through the window? Well, you better not try it, because I've got bars on those windows now, see? Just like the bars you're gonna be looking through one of these days.
Oh, yeah. You'd like that, wouldn't you, lady? You can't wait to get me arrested. Well, 3 times you bust me, and 3 times I got off, so why don't you quit trying?
You think you're a smart kid, but you're so dumb. Didn't you know I had cash in my apartment?
I'm telling you, it wasn't me. And let me finish my spaghetti, huh? You know, I paid for it.
I thought you lost your appetite.
Well, I will if I keep looking at you.
All right. Go ahead. What's the matter with your leg? All right, hold it right there. Thank you, Scotty. It's okay, folks. It's okay.
It really is so warm and cozy here. I keep forgetting how charming it is until I come.
Well, that's because you haven't been here often enough.
Thank you.
Oh, Draper, did you offer Margot a drink?
Not yet. Excuse me, Margot. Would you care for one?
Yes, thank you. A little glass of white wine would be lovely.
Oh, I think I'll join. Oh, no. Forget it. I have sworn off alcohol. I read somewhere that alcohol is bad for pregnant women. Is that right?
Well, I'm no expert. Ask your obstetrician, Dr. Buckley.
Good idea.
Well, here you go, Margot.
Oh, thank you, Draper.
And thank you for the flowers. They're very nice.
Oh, I'm glad you like them. Well, if you folks don't have any news, I do.
What's that?
It seems it's about Elliot. He came by to pick up his things, and he told me that he has a new job.
What happened to the Unicorn Club?
Well, it seems he has a rather nasty employer, felt he wasn't morally fit to hold such a prestigious job, and I guess I'll start looking for a new manager. Yeah. Any suggestions?
Is he working at another restaurant?
No, you'll never guess who gave him the job. My old and dear friend, Owen Madison. Gonna make a movie star out of it.
A movie star? Oh, Margot, you can't be serious.
No, I'm absolutely serious. I always knew he was a great actor. I just never knew other people would recognize him.
An actor? In the Mansion of the Damned?
Mm-hmm.
What's he playing?
Oh, Draper, the only possible role. The devil himself. Isn't it absolutely delicious? I'm sure he'll enjoy himself immensely.
Well, how did it happen? How did he get the part?
Well, that's up for speculation, but the story is that Nola Madison had met him at the Unicorn, then of course she saw him again at our apartment. And when Trent Archer left, Nola remembered him, recommended him for the role. Apparently, he passed the screen test with flying colors. Why wouldn't he? It's the penultimate piece of typecasting, isn't it? Oh, well, I'm happy for him. After all, he's doing exactly what I told him to do. Go to the devil.
So, Margot, what are you going to do now?
Oh, learn to live alone and like it, I guess. I did it before. Maybe I'll buy a puppy.
You're not alone. You've got family now, remember?
Hey, that's right. I have a daughter, a son-in-law, soon to have a grandchild, perhaps.
April, is supper ready yet, you think?
Well, I don't know. Why?
Well, maybe I better take a look. I don't cook, but I can smell if anything's burning. Excuse me.
Nice of you, Draper.
Yeah, well, you know what I think? I think you need to get away for a while.
Oh, no, I don't know. I think work is the best medicine. Though I must admit I'm not very enthusiastic about my job at the moment.
My point exactly. What you need is a change of scenery. A complete change of scenery. Remember how you've always told me how invigorating it is to travel, especially in a place like Europe. Come back with fresh eyes. Why don't you take your own advice?
Well, I love to travel, only I hate to travel alone. Now, if I could convince someone to accompany me.
Moi?
Moi! Oh, darling, that's a wonderful idea. Well, it's a perfect opportunity. Now, look, you're going to be tied down pretty soon, very, very pregnant. It's a perfect opportunity to do things like travel.
It sounds terrific. Yeah. Really, you're right. I am going to be tied down for months, if not years. I really should convince Draper that we should have a last fling. No, I'll forget it.
What?
He'd never go. He'd never do it. But for one thing, we don't have any money.
Oh, well, actually, what I was going to...
No, Margot, no. No more presents. Thank you. Draper's working day and night as it is to pay off your last present.
Darling, I wasn't going to suggest that. I know Draper can't get away. What I was going to suggest is that, well, you just take a month by yourself and come with me. I mean, surely Draper wouldn't object to that now, would he?
Well, all's well in the kitchen.
What about it, Draper? You wouldn't mind, would you? You'd let me borrow your wife for a month, huh? And let her see the world before all she sees is diapers and baby stuff?
What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about taking April to Europe with me for a month. Oh, come on, darling, you wouldn't mind, would you?
Yes. Hello?
Hi, honey. It's your man from New York.
Hi, darling. How are you?
I'm fine. Just had an excellent meal in a very nice restaurant. How was your evening?
Oh, it was very exciting. I just got in.
Did you have dinner with Deborah Saxon?
Yes, I did. We thought it would be a good idea since you're out of town and she's off duty. But, honey, first tell me, did you see David Hansen? Did he keep that dinner date?
Yes, he was here just as he promised. As a matter of fact, my evening turned out to be kind of exciting, too.
What do you mean?
Well, Mr. Henson proved to be a reasonable sort of man. He admitted that he hadn't been completely fair when he turned Draper down without even a personal interview.
Aha. Did you ask him about Margot?
Oh, yes, he was quite honest about that, too. He admitted it was Margot that had told him that Draper was unfit for the job and that he had taken her word for it.
Oh, just as we thought. Oh, honey, if Draper ever finds this out, it's just going to make a bad situation worse.
Nancy, they still haven't found the attorney they're looking for. And Mr. Henson has agreed to meet and talk to Draper about it.
Okay, that's reasonable. That should at least clear up any doubts he has about himself.
So it means Draper's dream about a job in New York may still come true.
finally turned on the heat. How you guys doing, huh? Taking care of each other? Yeah. It's time to move you off the radiator before you burn up. Look all right, though.
Stoner here.
Hey, Calvin, did you just call me?
No, why?
Oh, well, I thought maybe you called me about that kid I just brought in, Benny Hayes, you know, the one with the grass growing around his leg.
Well, no, I didn't call you, but I can tell you something about the kid. A very fancy lawyer just came down here and pushed him into a hearing with Judge Willis. The judge slapped his usual low bail on him. I don't think it was even $500. And the lawyer paid it right then and there.
So the kid's out in the street again.
If you ask me, he'll probably make $500 in a day's work.
I don't suppose you know the trial date.
Are you kidding? With the way the court calendar is, it'll probably be a miracle if Benny goes to trial before New Year's.
Well, sorry to bother you, Calvin.
Oh, no trouble. And don't worry about the call. If it's important, he'll call back.
Thank you, Calvin. Oh, hello? Hello? Hello. Listen, friend, I don't know if you know it or not, but you got a part of the police department here. So just stop wasting my time. Little things. Getting all hot and bothered, too, huh? Get away from all that heat. For God's sake. Hello.
Believe me, Miss Drake, you're a very privileged character. It's the first time that anybody has been allowed on this set who wasn't directly concerned with the picture.
Oh, listen, I know this has been a close set, and I am very grateful.
Well, I won't kid you. When we heard that you wanted to do a story about the so-called curse on this movie, well, we figured that was the perfect opportunity to put down some of these silly rumors.
Rumors? Well, but things have been happening here now, haven't they? Right in the studio.
Well, things always happen on a movie set. That's the nature of the business. But a curse, we just don't believe it.
Uh-huh. Well, at Margot's party, you know, I had the impression that you wouldn't mind if people kind of believed it.
Well, you know, I'm a press agent, and you know our code. I don't care what you say about me as long as you spell my name right. I don't think we need any curses to promote this film. We've got a great story, and we've got Nola Patterson.
I see you also have a brand new actor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a complete unknown, but we think he's going to be terrific. You know Mr. Dorn, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I know Mr. Dorn.
Well, he's our new devil. But take it from me, the real devil is not messing around with our little movie. You just tell everybody that. Why don't you wait right here and I'll try and get Owen for you.
Oh, listen, don't trouble him.
Oh, no trouble at all. He'll want to see you. He's as anxious as I am to tell the world that the so-called curse on this picture just doesn't exist. Owen?
Miss Drake. Say,
Oh,
very
Mr.
glad to
Madison.
you
Hi.
came. Sorry about not permitting any cameras on the set, but I'm sure you understand.
No. I knew you wouldn't let us take any pictures here. I am really impressed with this set.
Yeah, it's a beauty, isn't it? It's by Lorimer Weiss. It's a designer I've worked with for a number of years. I'll tell you one thing. If we had this thing built in Hollywood, it would have cost us the entire budget of this production. I mean that.
Miss Drake has just noticed that Mr. Dorn is over there, an old friend of hers.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Mr. Dorn isn't exactly an old friend of mine. Mrs. Dorn is my employer.
Listen, she won't object to your doing any stories about this film just because her husband is in it, will she? I mean, I understand they're not on very good terms.
I don't think Margot would have any objections to this. Besides, I am the one that decides what goes on the air. She's given me complete autonomy.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
By the way, though, it doesn't mean that this is going to be a feature necessarily, because as you say, we don't have any on-the-air material.
Oh, no, really, no, I understand.
All we wanted was a little mention, Just tell the folks out there in TV land that the devil is not pulling any tricks on our film.
Dad, Jason wants to get started.
Okay, fine. Well, listen, very nice to see you,
Thank you.
Mr.
Why don't you sit down here?
All right, boys and girls, now this is a crucial moment in our story. Hester Atherton is absolutely blazing with jealousy and hatred because she is convinced that this sweet thing is going to take that handsome brute away from her. Now, she is convinced that she's losing Tom Halifax, and she is desperate. Remember, she lost a man that she loved 20 years ago, and she's determined not to let that happen again, even if it means the devil to pay.
That's me.
Right. All right, Nola and Elliot, places, please.
All right, everybody, can we have quiet on the set, please? Let's have it quiet. All right. Roll sound.
Speed.
Camera.
Speed.
And slate.
Scene 9, take 1, sound 1.
And action.
You've got to help me. You have the power to help me, Nicholas Harriman.
Yes, I have the power. But do I have the incentive?
You want my bill? It's yours. I'll sell it for you at the lowest possible price if you'll help me now.
I told you, Miss Atherton, that mills are not my stock in trade.
But I'm going to lose him. I've waited 20 years for Tom Halifax, and now this empty-headed child is going to take him from me.
Oh, it wasn't I who brought Patience Revere into your home.
No, it was my friend Edmund, my so-called friend.
Well, didn't I once tell you that I, who am considered to be man's greatest enemy, am actually his greatest friend? No, it wasn't to you I said it, was it? It was to Lucrezia.
Please help me, Mr. Harriman.
But you ask a great deal, Miss Atherton. It is no easy task to change a human heart. Yes, even for the devil. It would cost me a great deal of effort. But if the price were right, I could do it.
The price? You mean my soul?
Ah, yes, Miss Atherton. My establishment deals only in one article.
No, I can't make that bargain. I won't. Not for anything. There must be some other way.
Yes, there is another way. You have to change things yourself.
But I can't. I can't win him back now. If I send her away, he'll only follow her. She has him enchanted.
You can fight one enchantment with another, Miss Atherton. Your ancestor did. You can too.
My ancestor was a witch.
And her heritage is yours, Miss Atherton. You can serve me the way she served me. And you will have the power to cast your own spells over the helpless mortals who crawl over this sorry planet.
You would make me a witch?
You are a witch, Hester. I will merely give you the spells and curses that will make you the mistress of his affection. The power that will enable you to destroy your enemies. Do you accept me as your master?
And my immortal soul?
Safe, Esther. Safely yours. All you have to do is to take my hands. Take my hands and swear obeisance. And the power to keep those you love and destroy those you hate will be yours. Take my hands, Hester Atherton.
Cut! Print that one.
Well, you should have seen the lawyer who came in here to spring him. You would have thought Benny was the president of an oil company or something.
I'm sure these guys can afford the best three-piece suit lawyers in town.
You really think it was Benny who ransacked your apartment the other night?
He's the most likely candidate. He knows I've been after him for weeks. He's always hanging around my apartment building.
Yeah, I remember you saying he's even been doing business there.
Oh, yeah, how's that for contempt of the law? Selling drugs right under my nose.
He must have done it for kicks. I mean, he didn't take anything.
Well, he doesn't have to take anything. He makes more money than I do. Something else has been happening, too.
Oh, what's that?
I've been getting anonymous phone calls.
Oh, really? What about him? Does this guy say anything?
No, he doesn't say anything. Sometimes he plays music for me, though. Church music, like Gregorian chants. Isn't that strange? Well, I guess I'll go out in the streets now and see if I can find any more criminals so I can turn them loose.
No, don't get bitter.
No, I won't get bitter. It's just that I'm more anti-crime than ever, now that I've become a victim as well as a cop.
Now, wait a minute, Deborah. Now, tell me, what was that word again you used to describe the kind of music this guy was playing for you over the phone?
Well, I don't know much about music, but it was kind of like a Gregorian chant. You know, people humming a lot.
Well, I don't know. It seems to me that whoever vandalized your apartment is not the same character who's making these phone calls. I mean, it's a cinch that Benny Hayes, anyway, has never even heard a Gregorian chant.
You got a point there. Well, so long, guys.
Ciao. So, what do you think about all this?
Well, creeps come in all sizes and shapes. I told Deborah to get herself a police lock. That should cut down on the breaking and entering.
Yeah, simple solution. And she can always change her phone number.
Right. You know, I wonder if she gets a new number, if she'll give it to her old friends.
You caught me. Oh, I had this wonderful idea, you see. I thought that, imagine this scene. You walk in frustrated, angry, and there, sitting on your desk, is one perfect rose.
Where? Cliff, how sweet of you. Bought with your own money.
Why, hey, you can't pick roses in the park, you know. You know what they're getting for those these days?
Oh, Cliff, thank you very much.
Well, I heard your apartment was broken into, and I thought you could use a little cheering up, so that's why we're here. Me and the Rose.
Watch out for the thorns.
Hey, is that nice? I spend my hard-earned money to buy you a rose. Don't you think a little romantic gift like this deserves some reciprocation?
Like what?
Well, for one thing, we could have lunch.
No, I can't. I've got to work today. I'm gonna have lunch in.
Hey, it's a terrible day to have lunch in. Oh, the sun is shining, the birds are singing in the air. It smells like a white wine. Come on, compadre. You won't have to pay for it. We can go Dutch.
Oh, well, in that case, I'll do it.
Yay!
After I finish this report.
Hey, there's no time for reports. I gotta be back to the office in an hour.
It's
Come
just
on.
gonna be a quickie. Don't worry about it. It's about a burglary. I'm very familiar with this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, right. Forgot. Must really be frightening to have your apartment broken into. I mean, even for a cop. But that's what you get for living all alone in this big, bad city.
I have my big bad gun to keep me company.
Yeah, it must be nice snuggling up to your snub nose at night. Hey, come on, Deborah. You need a roommate. I don't mean old man Madison either.
Look, if that's going to be the subject of our conversation, I'm not going to go with you.
Okay. Won't say another word. You're seeing him, aren't you? When he's been over your house.
What are you doing, spying on me?
No, I'm not spying on you. I make my living asking leading questions. Pretty good guess, huh?
Pretty good guess. Now, guess where we're having lunch?
Fisherman's Net?
Apart.
Is that a health food store?
Sometimes, Cliff, I don't know why I put up with you. I really
Because in your heart there, Scarlet loves D'Artagnan.
Put me down. Cliff, put me down. Take your rose and go.
Oh, there was a poem to go with the rose. It's written by Shelley. Seems his wife was going out with an older man named Lord Byron, and so he wrote this poem. Roses are red. Violets are blue. I'm younger than Owen and a lot more handsome, too. Well, I paraphrased it a little.
Go. Owen. Cliff Nelson, bring me back my rose.
Deborah, look.
Where did you get that?
Cliff Nelson gave it to me. He said it was one perfect rose. It's the first time that he's noticed me.
Enjoy.
It's my first movie. And I'm surprised about one thing. I thought if I ever did do a film, it'd be in Hollywood.
And here you are in your old hometown.
No, well, actually, I'm from Philadelphia. Yeah, I came out here a couple of years ago to do some summer stock, and I liked it so much I stayed.
I have seen you at the Monticello Playhouse, and I want you to know I think you're very good.
Thank you.
Hey, what is it like working with Nola Patterson?
She's terrific. She really gives it all she has, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, she's a very intense sort of person, isn't she?
You haven't seen her in her witch makeup, have you?
No.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oddly enough, my husband has.
Well, your husband?
Oh, I'm sorry, Miles Cavanaugh. He's a doctor. He came here to treat Trent Archer when he was ill.
Oh, I should have known you were taken. Beautiful women usually are.
All right, everybody. Let's do the next scene. All right?
Excuse me, I'm not in this scene, but I should be there.
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, Nola, you know what's expected here.
Well-controlled fury.
Well, not too well controlled. I want the audience to know what you're feeling. And you, Paige, all innocence and deep, deep concern over what Edmund Wayland is doing.
And I, of course, am the peacemaker, or try to be.
All right, let's go right into it, please.
All right, everybody quiet on the set, please. Roll sound. Speed. Camera. Speed. Slate, please.
Scene 14, take one, sounding.
And action.
Hester, listen to reason, or if you cannot listen, use your eyes. Look at this girl. Do you see anything on that face other than innocence?
It's a mask, Edmund. All innocence is a mask.
What have I done? I've done nothing.
You've been after Tom Halifax from the moment you entered this house.
No, it isn't so.
You've set traps and snares for him in every room in this house, along every corridor.
Hester, this is nonsense.
I've seen it with my own eyes, Edmund. Don't be fooled by those downcast looks. It's exactly what she uses to entice my fiancé.
I have never enticed him. I have hardly spoken to him.
Oh, no. You didn't have to speak to him, did you? You used wordless communication, the oldest language in the world.
I'm sure you're exaggerating, Hester, and if there was a casual flirtation, I'm sure it was the most proper.
Mr. Halifax approached me, Mr. Whalen. I swear it to you. He stopped me in the corridor many times.
Did he say anything improper, Patience?
He spoke to me jestingly. Sometimes I didn't even know what he was saying.
And he kissed you, Patience, didn't he?
Yes, he kissed me.
More than once, Patience?
Hester, this has gone far enough. I'm sure that if you have a complaint, it is against the young man.
No, I won't go to him. She is the temptress, Edmund. She's the one who must be removed.
No, Cousin Hester, please don't send me away. I swear it to you. I promise I will avoid him. I promise not to encourage his advances.
There, Hester. What more could you ask of the girl?
Well, if she promises, if she makes it a holy vow.
I do. Holy vow, Cousin Hester.
Very well, then.
I knew the matter would be resolved. And now, if you will excuse me, I am very tired.
And I'll tell you this, pretty one. If you don't keep your promise, if you so much as glance at my fiancé, I'll put a curse on you that will destroy that fragile, pathetic beauty of yours. I'll make you so ugly and deformed that Tom Halifax or any other man will never look at you again, except with loathing.
All right, cut. And print.
Oh,
There's fire.
May I have some water, please? Oh, bless you.
All right, there's just one more scene I want to see this afternoon, and that would be scene 41, the top of page 102.
Okay.
That's page in the house and the storm outside.
And you want the storm effect, Jason?
Yes, I'd like to see it on.
Mm-hmm.
Would you take your place, please?
Up by the window?
Okay, show her by the window.
Okay.
Could I have the right lighting, please? All right, can I see the lightning?
Well, it looks pretty effective to me. What do you think?
Thank you, and the thunder.
I don't know. Something's missing. Here, give me the script. Where would you? There, good. I don't know. Maybe I think I just missed the music.
Well, Dad, why don't we play it all together and see how it all works? Joe, would you hit the tape, please?
You see? I knew we hadn't inspected this damn grid work.
No.
Hey,
Paige, are you all right? Yeah, I'm okay. My heart's beating and my
they missed you, but hope by a couple of feet.
Well, at least nobody was hurt anyway, huh?
Well, all right, look at the size of that damn thing.
Come on, sit down. Are you all right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah?
I'm all right. I'm just shaken up a bit.
Miss Drake, I feel like an idiot after telling you that absolutely nothing would go wrong today.
No, Lord, I'm just glad somebody was hurt.
Owen, somebody come quickly.
What's wrong?
It's Jason. I think he's fainted.
God, no. Jason.
Oh, and he looks so pale.
Get his head down. Sit him up and put his head down between his legs.
Get him an ambulance and fast. Dad, I don't think he's fainted. I think he's had some kind of an attack.
God, no.
Daddy, is it serious?
I don't know. I can't find any pulse.
I better call an ambulance.
It's too late, Eddie. I think he's dead.
Now for a
Draper,
look at the
come
local
on, we're gonna be
Monticello
late if
scene.
you don't hurry up.
And on a more somber note, Jason Reinhardt, a man regarded as one of the most creative and innovative Hollywood directors for the past 2 decades, died suddenly last night. Reinhardt was in Monticello directing the Owen Madison production of Mansion of the Damned. WMON anchor person Nicole Drake was on the set of the film last night, preparing a feature on the filming of the movie when the tragedy struck. She filed this report.
This is Nicole Drake in Glenboro, on the soundstage where Mansion of the Damned, the first feature-length film to be shot in Monticello, is being shot. Twice before, movie companies have attempted to film this screenplay, and both times production has been halted for unexplained reasons. But if the Hollywood rumor of a jinx or a curse on this picture needed more support, it received it this afternoon. Tragedy struck during the rehearsal of a scene between the film's star, Nola Patterson, and young actress Paige Madison. An arc lamp hung high on a grid above the set crashed suddenly to the floor, missing both actresses by inches. The falling lamp caused no direct casualties, but there was a fatality. The film's director, Jason Reinhardt, winner of 3 Academy Awards, collapsed and died when the incident occurred, apparently of a heart attack.
I can't believe it. I really cannot believe it. I knew something was going to happen. I knew something horrible was going to happen.
Another premonition?
No, Draper, not a premonition, but I was there. I saw the studio. And I'll tell you, I am honestly beginning to believe that there is a curse on that movie.
Oh, come on. I still say that whatever you saw in that studio was a figment of your overworked imagination.
Draper, and I still tell you that I am not sure what it was I saw.
Well, it couldn't have been a witch. There's only one in Monticello, and she lives... I think I'm going to have my second cup of coffee at the office.
I think that's a good idea, because if you try to explain yourself out of that one, we're both going to be very...
Look, I'm sorry. It was just a bad analogy. It's just that when Margot came over last night and mentioned that trip to Europe, I thought for sure you were going to jump at the opportunity.
Draper Scott, if you thought that for 1 minute I would seriously consider Margot's offer, then obviously you don't know me very well.
But you've always wanted to travel abroad.
Well, I will. With you. And our baby.
Yeah, but you may have to wait a while for that trip.
Draper, Europe is not going anywhere, and all those old buildings will just be that much older. That's all.
It's just that I always feel like I'm in the middle of a contest with Margot.
Draper, I do not want to leave you ever again. Do you understand that? Not even for a day, if I can help it. Now, if you're ready, we'll go to work, okay?
Poor Owen. Jason Reinhardt's death couldn't have come at a worse time.
I'm sure Mr. Reinhardt wasn't very happy about it either.
I'm sure he wasn't. Do they know what the exact cause was?
Uh-uh. Miles will be the first to know. He's doing the autopsy.
Ooh. Well, have they notified his family, at least?
I don't know. From what I heard, there are going to be quite a few phones ringing in L.A. Mr. Reinhardt left behind 5 ex-wives.
5? Oh, dear. That was enough to put a strain on the poor man's heart, not to mention his checkbook.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just a shame to lose such a talented man.
Well, we all suffer losses. We just have to pick ourselves up and get back to the game of life.
Is that what you were doing here at the crack of dawn this morning?
Well, it doesn't take very long to gulp down a cup of coffee. And I didn't have anyone particular to have conversation with.
Margot, this must be a very difficult time for you. If there's anything I can do to help, will you just ask?
As a matter of fact, now that you mention it, you could do a little arm twisting for me.
What?
Well, you have a quality that I lack, it seems. A certain sincere persuasiveness.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
Well, maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part, but I would like you to use that persuasiveness on Draper and April.
To what end?
Well, I was over at their place, and it occurred to me that would be the perfect opportunity for April to go on a little vacation.
Mm-hmm. Well, but is that practical now? I mean, is it okay for Draper to just pick up and leave his clients on such short notice?
I didn't say that. It's just that April had suggested that I go to Europe, maybe for a month, and I merely offered to take her with me.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it'd be the perfect time for her to travel, Nicole, before her pregnancy made it impossible.
Well, I gather that your suggestion met with a little opposition?
Bullseye. No sooner had I made the suggestion than Draper started looking those daggers at me that he keeps in his eyes. Honestly, I think if looks could kill, Mr. Reinhardt wouldn't be the only fatality last night.
Margot, did you really think that Draper was going to be happy about the idea of being separated from his wife for a month?
No, not Draper. Draper is so selfish. He only thinks of himself. He never thinks of what might be good for April or what she might want or need.
Listen, I don't know if this is my place to get involved in this, Margot, but you and April are very dear to me. And in all honesty, I don't think that your idea about this vacation is a very wise one.
Really?
Well, come on. This is the first time in April's marriage since this rocky experience that things have been going well. And to suggest now with a child coming, Margot, I think that they need to be together.
Okay. So, once again, I am a majority of one. Funny. Nobody ever seems to think about my feelings.
Cause of death? Myocardial infarction.
Heart attack, right?
That's it. I did the autopsy. I found fresh infarct plus a lot of scar tissue.
No, you did say that he'd had a history of heart trouble, didn't you?
I called his doctor in L.A. He told me that Mr. Reinhardt had had 2 previous heart attacks. One of them was within the past 2 years.
And with all this, Reinhardt still remained very active.
Yeah, his doctor tried to put him on a program of diet and exercise, but he didn't take to that advice.
Sounds like a case of a director who didn't take direction very well.
Doc, did you find any unusual things with his death at all?
No, I'm afraid not, Steve. There's no evidence of any foreign substance in his bloodstream or any of the tissues that might have caused a heart attack. I'm afraid just natural causes.
Well, thanks for helping us out with this one, Miles. You know, I would appreciate it if you'd put your report in the form of a release. I know I need it to get it ready for the press. I mean, Reinhardt was a fairly well-known personality, and they'll want that information for their obituaries.
Well, no matter what you tell them, people are going to say somebody's going to come up with the idea that the cause of death was this curse from the mansion of the dam.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if the first one to jump on that bandwagon wasn't the press agent for the film, Eddie Vaughn.
Well, he's got enough material. The strange lights out of the studio at nighttime, Deputy Birdwell seeing ghosts, April for that matter, and now lights falling from the scenery.
Yeah, not to mention Trent Archer quitting the production because
Calvin.
he thought Hester had her evil eye on her.
Trent Archer was suffering from is a very simple and very human case of hypoglycemia. He just didn't want to believe the truth, that's all.
I wish the other events were that easily explained.
I'm sure they are.
Well, Calvin and I don't believe in curses. We're just having a little difficulty coming up with some answers.
Well, you know what the curse is here. It's the curse of human nature, overactive imaginations. You know, you take all these small little facts and you blow them up into a big crisis.
Oh, come on, Doc. Now, you really think all we're dealing with is a lot of people letting their imaginations get the best of them?
I tell you what, Calvin, I'm sure that what my sister saw, that ghost, and what the guard saw was just It was there because they expected it to be there.
Well, power of suggestion.
Right. And as for the technical mishaps, I'm sure they're not uncommon on any movie set.
Probably.
That's right. Madison did say he's having difficulty finding experienced stagehands in Monticello. Maybe the lights were hung improperly.
And Mr. Vaughn has fed this town so much hype about a curse. Now, any simple little thing goes wrong, and everybody all of a sudden assumes it's due to the powers of evil.
I wish we could find some information about what's happening with Deborah.
Why? What's the problem there?
Well, she came home the other night, a couple of nights ago, and she found her apartment ransacked. Nothing was taken.
I still think it's that kid Benny who she's been hassling about dealing drugs. He's just trying to find a way to get back at her.
Yeah, well,
that's
now
all.
she's getting weird phone calls.
So why isn't it possible that it's that same little punk just changing his tactics to try and shake her up?
Well, okay, how come every time she answers the phone, she hears music? Medieval type music. That's not like Benny.
That's true. It's not exactly what you'd expect from a delinquent who belongs to the disco generation, is
Wait
it?
a minute. A bell just rung up here.
What?
Well, Nicole was telling me she had seen some of the sets they were building for that movie, and apparently the main one is the interior of this big Gothic-type mansion.
Ah, yes, the haunted house of old Hester Atherton.
Yes, well, medieval music would fit right into that atmosphere, wouldn't it?
Yes. It's an interesting connection.
Well, I don't get this, Steve. I mean, Deborah is not involved in this movie, is she?
No, not with the movie.
Yes, Betty. Oh, really? No, I'm sure I can make time to see him. Okay, that'll be fine. Gentlemen, the party is over.
Sounds like his fiance's here.
Oh, that's right. Steve told me you and Star were getting married. Congratulations.
Well, thank you,
That's
except
nice.
my visitor is not exactly that pretty. It happens to be the police commissioner.
Uh-oh, what'd you do now?
Actually, I don't know. You think he could be coming by to give me a medal for the great job I've been doing?
I'd like to see that. You can show me some other day.
Listen, Calvin, the report will be in the forensics file, all right, if you need it. I don't think you will.
Okay, thanks, Doc.
Come on, Doc, out this way. I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Hey.
Yeah. Oh, don't clean up. He'll think you've been doing nothing. Come in.
Hello, Calvin.
Well, Commissioner, how are you?
How's that leg?
Oh, it's getting much better, much better. I'm still on the cane, but I think I'll dump that in a day or two. Let me see.
Sounds as if you're almost ready to go back to active duty. How's that suit you?
Well, look, if you're trying to find out if I've fallen in love with this desk, the answer is no.
Well, you've handled it pretty well, you know.
Well, thanks. You know, I might even consider going into administration at some point in the future, when the bad guys start running faster than I do. But I hoped I'd made it clear to Chief Marceau, Commissioner, that for now I really want to work where the action is.
Yes, I know you felt that way. You know, the only reason Bill stuck you behind that desk was because he knew you'd go crazy sitting around the house all day. And he knew you'd do a good job here.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Of course, you'll have to pass the physical before we let you back on the street.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Only, when's that gonna happen?
Week or two, if you're up to it.
Oh, then the chief's coming back to active duty.
The chief will be behind this desk bright and early Monday morning.
Well, now, he, didn't take a very long vacation, did he?
Calvin, this office has always been occupied by Monticello's chief of police, and for many years, that's been Bill Marceau. But as of next week, someone else will have their name on the door.
Come on, it's some kind of a joke.
In some ways, I wish it was. Now, before Bill left on vacation, he notified me that he would be exercising his 30-year retirement option.
I see.
Your initial reaction was the same as mine. I never thought I'd see anyone but Bill heading up this department.
So why was this, made such a big secret?
Ah, well, you know how Bill is. He's a low-key sort of guy, you know. He knew that if he made an official announcement, there'd be ceremonies, parties, that sort of thing. He wanted to walk away with as little fanfare as possible.
So that means we have a new chief of police. Wow. What's this guy like?
Well, his name is Derek Mallory. He's young, bright. I guess you might say he's from the new school of law enforcement. He's extensive education in police sciences and a master's degree in criminology.
Oh, I don't know. All that book learning doesn't always help when you're out on the streets.
Well, he's paid his dues there, too. No, he's worked his way up. He's pounded a beat from the graveyard shift on the docks of Seattle to the deputy police chief's office in Denver. That's where he's coming from.
Well, wish him good luck.
Well, he has a lot of innovative ideas. Some people might say maybe too innovative, but I think he's going to be just fine.
Oh. Can't wait to meet him then.
Well, you'll get your chance next week. But keep it under wraps until then, Calvin. Okay?
Yes.
Hey, partner, welcome back.
Well, good morning, Draper.
Good morning. Got some nice hot coffee for you here.
Oh,
There
thank
you
you.
go.
If I had known I was going to get the red carpet treatment every time I left on a trip, I'd leave more often.
Get everything accomplished.
Matter of fact, the Palmer case is well on its way to being settled.
Hey, the trip was a success then.
It was, in more ways than one.
What happened? Don't tell me you picked up some new clients on the plane coming back.
No, but while I was in New York, I stopped by the offices of Seward, Paxton, and Whiteside.
Yeah, they do have nice offices, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what'd you want to do? See what it would have been like if you had taken the job? They did want you, Mike.
They also expressed interest in you.
Not for very long.
Draper, I had a chat with one of their partners, David Henson.
You mean he exists?
Oh, yes, he exists, all right.
When I was in New York, all I heard was this talk about the elusive Mr. Henson. I never did get to see him, though.
Well, as it turned out, he was in the hospital while you were there for that series of interviews.
Well, somebody should have told him what Will Rogers said about never meeting a man he didn't like. He never met me, Mike, yet he didn't like me well enough to offer me the job.
And that always bothered me. The fact that he was willing to veto your appointment without so much as a personal interview.
It bothered you. Mike, I still don't know why they turned me down.
Well, that's why I invited Henson to have dinner with me, to see if he'd be willing to discuss that matter. Now, I hope you don't mind my doing this without telling you about it beforehand, but I had no idea how Henson might react to my overture, and I didn't want to get your hopes up.
Look, Mike, I appreciate the fact that you think that much of me, of my career, to go to all that trouble, but it's
Draper,
very painful.
you're a fine lawyer, and I think Seward Paxton missed the boat by not hiring you, although their loss was my gain. At least I wanted the opportunity to tell them what a big mistake they made.
Well, was he willing to discuss it? Did he give you any idea why he felt so negatively about me?
Well, in all fairness to Mr. Henson, I think his decision was based on misinformation.
And just where did he get this misinformation?
Apparently from unreliable sources.
Oh, Mike, you've got to tell me. I've got to know. It's very important to me.
What should be more important to you, Draper, is the fact that Henson happens to be a reasonable man. My evaluation of your abilities seems to have negated his previous impression. At the moment, he's got an open mind. In fact, he's willing to see you now.
April, how would you feel about doing an ongoing news feature on the 6 o'clock news?
Well, I guess that would all depend on how long it would take, huh? I have a funny feeling I'll be doing shorter and shorter stories as I get bigger and bigger.
No, you'd have to stay with this story until you give birth. You see, I was thinking of doing a story on your pregnancy.
Margot, look, this pregnancy might be special to a couple of people, but I wouldn't exactly consider it newsworthy.
Darling, look. I would do it as an informational piece, a public service. You could tell the people exactly what steps you were taking to ensure a healthy pregnancy, and it would be very valuable to mothers and to-be and the audience. Huh?
Well, I have to admit it sounds interesting.
Oh, yes, Ginny. Oh, yeah, she is. Hold on just a second. It's for you.
Oh, hello.
Honey, I just had some terrific news, and I couldn't wait to tell you about it.
Well, I'm listening.
Well, Mike just got back from New York, and he had dinner with the elusive Mr. Henson about why he turned me down for the job. He found out.
Well, what is it?
Well, he said it was based on some misinformation, but the important thing is, honey, he's willing to see me again.
Well, Draper, that's terrific, but I mean, what's the point? I'm sure the job is taken.
No, that is the point. The job is still open. Do you believe that?
No, I don't.
We may make it to New York yet. New York. Yeah, look, I've got to get going. I just wanted to tell you this right now. We'll talk more about it tonight.
Okay, oh, fine. I'll see you later. Bye. Wow.
Darling, what's this all about?
Well, my car was in New York for a couple of days, and he had saw Mr. Henson, you know, that lawyer who was so vehement about not hiring Draper.
Yes, you told me that he flatly refused to give Draper the job.
Yeah, well, obviously he must have changed his mind.
That's impossible.
Well, it appears as though he's agreed to see Draper.
David gave me his word.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
Marco, I know you know Henson. He used to be your lawyer in New York. You told me that.
Yeah, he used to be my lawyer in New York.
When Draper was rejected for this job, you told me that you were sorry that you had not talked to Henson and put in a good word for Draper.
Well, I thought I should just stay out of it.
You did talk to him, didn't you?
Look, that job was never right for Draper.
Margot, what did you mean exactly when you said Henson gave you his word? Did you mean that he promised not to see Draper?
He couldn't see Draper.
Or do you
he was
mean
in the
that he promised that he would make sure that Draper would not get that job? Margot, I know how you felt about Draper taking that job and our moving to New York.
Why wouldn't I be upset about my daughter moving 1,000 miles away?
Oh my God, Margot, you did it, didn't you? I mean, I can ask Henson. Draper is going to see him. But I don't have to. I already know. You did it. You were the one who made sure Draper didn't get that job in New York. Was you, wasn't it? I mean, Margot, I can ask Henson. Draper is going to see him. I don't have to do it. And I already know. You were the one. You were the one who kept Draper from getting that job in New York.
You just don't understand how I felt, how I feel.
How could you have done something so unforgivable?
I did it for you.
For me? You did it because you hate Draper.
Don't hate Draper. Oh, for heaven's sake, if I hated Draper, don't you think I'd want him out of my life? Darling, I didn't talk to Henson because of any feelings I have for Draper. I talked to him because I care so much for you.
Well, I can't believe that.
But when you came to me and told me you might be going to New York and I saw how unhappy you were about it, how upset you were.
Of course I was upset about leaving, Margot. Why wouldn't I be?
Well, you didn't have to leave, you see. You didn't have to leave your new home, your family, your...
No, why? Because Margot arranged it. You arranged it, Margot. Don't you understand how horrible that is?
But why? Draper has a good job here. He has a fine future right
here. That was not for you to decide. Draper was ecstatic about the possibility of working for one of the most prestigious forms.
Draper is so selfish. He was only thinking about himself.
And what about you?
April, it's taken me 25 years to
don't
find my
daughter. Line. The only reason you didn't find me was because you didn't want to know where I was. You knew where I was and you just didn't care.
God, you sound just like Draper.
Yeah, Margot. Well, Draper isn't always wrong.
He would have been wrong if he had taken you to New York, away from everyone that you care for, everyone that cares for you. never seen you look at me like this before. Looking at me with such hatred. Oh, God, what a mess I made of everything.
Margot, don't you understand? Don't you realize what'll happen if Draper finds out the truth? He has been so bitter. He would be angry enough to kill.
April, there was nothing unusual in Henson talking to me about Draper. I mean, we're old friends, and he knew I was related to him.
Yeah, he knew that he would get an unbiased opinion from you, right, Margot?
Oh, he knew I'd be truthful.
Could you even use that word? After all the false things you said about Draper, that he was callow, that he was inexperienced?
Well, I would hardly call the boy mature, would you?
I think I better leave here before I say something I'm very
No,
sorry.
April, please. No, wait a minute. When I said that I told him the truth, I told him that you were unhappy about leaving here. I told him that I was very, very unhappy. Now, that was the truth.
And then Mr. Henson did you a favor.
And I am sick about it when I see what it's done to you. Darling, please, don't tell Draper. He would never forgive me, never.
Come on, Paul. The only reason you're asking for that kind of money for your client is because you know that I'm stuck. And I can't get a director out here to complete this movie. Well, you tell Skylar if he wants that kind of money to go and rob a bank, because I haven't got it. Yeah, thank you.
I've been dressed for 2 hours, and all I've been asked to do is to stand aside while the stage hands do the work.
Now, hurry up and wait is as venerable a phrase in show business as break a leg. You better get used to it.
Listen, I hope my relative inexperience in this field doesn't bother you. I know you've more than paid your dues to the theatrical arts, as they say.
Well, I don't think I've ever been so tactfully called an old man, Mr. Dorn. But don't be too surprised if you don't get any experience out of this.
Why?
Well, the untimely passing of Mr. Reinhardt has left us sorely in need of a director. It may take some time to find a replacement.
Why is that a problem?
Well, in this business, time is money. You see, whether we shoot or not, everybody around here gets paid. Now, Owen's going to have to find a director before the money runs out.
And what about our star?
You think Nola would come to Owen's rescue?
Well, you know how much she wants this movie to be made. And, I think she does have the capital, doesn't she?
Well, yes. Nola's made a great deal of money in her time. She's had the good sense to hang on to it.
Mr. Reinhardt told me once that she's worth more than her husband.
Well, then that's probably true, but I don't think Owen would ever ask his wife for money.
You mean even if it meant the difference between producing this film and closing up shop?
Owen's very much his own man.
Yeah? I guess some people have more principles than others.
Dad, I'm sorry. I'm just not ready to direct this film.
It's a chance of a lifetime, Brian, directing an Owen Madison production.
Also to fall flat on my face.
That's not going to happen. You did some work on filming in the Navy.
Paige, you didn't have to be terribly creative making training films on swabbing decks.
Brian, now, look, all I'm asking you to do is try. Now, I promise I will try to search for a replacement. And if anything goes wrong, well, we can always make a change.
Brian, we simply can't afford a halt production. I'm sure everyone connected with the film, all of us will give you our utmost cooperation.
The only reason I'm getting this chance is because you know I work cheap, right?
That means you'll do it?
I'll give it a try. No promises, Dad.
Thank you. Now, look, if you ever need any help, you just call on your own man,
And
all
you
right?
stick around, okay?
You're going to be terrific.
Well, my own son directing me in a motion picture. Makes me feel very old, but very proud. Oh. Now, will you want to do my scene with Patience today? The one where I appear before her as a witch?
Oh, yeah, Mom, I want to get to that as soon as we get to the next scene on the schedule, okay?
All right. When you need me, I'll be in makeup.
All right, Dorothy, come here.
Hello. There are a couple of details about today's scene that I'm not sure about. Could I ask your advice?
Oh, I'd be delighted, Elliot. Come to my dressing room with me.
Sure.
All right, everybody, can I have your attention for a minute?
Okay.
Now, as you probably have heard, I am going to be serving as director on Mansion of the Damned. Now, I realize that I'm no Jason Reinhardt, and all I can promise you is that I'll be doing my best. Now, I'm sure you've all heard that old cliche about a film being a team effort. Well, it's never been more true than it is right now. Now, I'm very aware that I've got a lot to learn, and I don't know everything. So I'm going to need everyone's help, because I know that this film can be a success. So I'm going to need everyone to lend a hand, because I need you all very much.
Hey, Brian, my boy, when you get your Oscar nomination, let me write the acceptance speech. I've got a file full of them at home and never been used.
All I ask is that you give me your attention, and I promise I'll do my damnedest to earn your respect. All right, let's go to work, huh? I want to start with scene 232, please. That's the scene between Chris and Paige. Please stay on the set now.
Ready when you are, CB.
All right.
I'll do my best to give you whatever you want.
Thanks, Chris. Now, in this scene, Tom is attracted to Patience, right? He cannot hide his feelings any longer, even though he is engaged to Hester. All right?
That little old heartbreaker me.
Yeah, you just keep in mind that you've done nothing to encourage these feelings, all right?
No, I am attracted to him.
Right. All right, now I know Jason did some preliminary blocking on this scene, so we'll go with that, all right? All right, everybody, this is a rehearsal with cameras and sound, please. All right, Paige, you remember you were at the top of the stairs looking out the window. And Tom was right behind. Okay, Chris. And action.
What do you see out there?
Mr. Halifax, you startled me.
My apologies. I was admiring the beauties of this room.
Do you think this room is beautiful? So dark and damp, and the furniture's all old and worn. It gives me a pall every time I walk into the room.
Your physical description of the surroundings may well be accurate. But at this moment, I feel this room is vibrant and alive. Even the hall of mirrors at the Palace of Versailles is no match for it.
Perhaps you see something of merit that's escaped my attention.
It is you, Patience Revere. You are the beauty of this room.
You must be a fine writer, Mr. Halifax. You have such a way with words.
Surely my observation comes as no surprise to you. You must have been aware for some time I have been an ardent admirer of yours.
Flatter me.
I love you, Patience. I am madly, impetuously, deeply in love with you.
Mr. Halifax, I know you're only jesting, but you speak of serious emotion.
But I am serious.
You're also betrothed.
Who told you that?
It's true, isn't it?
Hester has made no announcement. We were keeping our intentions secret. Your cousin delights in secrecy. Nothing excites her so much as when I whisper in her ear. Does whispering excite you too, Patience?
Oh, please, Mr. Halifax.
A betrothal kept secret is easily broken. There will be no public shame. We can go away together.
Oh, I cannot.
Hester has lived alone in solitude for many years. She can survive solitude.
But I owe her so much. I owe her everything.
Do you wish to devote your life to gratitude? Or to love? I can make you happy, Patience. Even if you respect your cousin.
Respect her? Mr. Halifax, don't you understand? I fear her.
Cut. That was just fine.
Oh, thanks, Brian.
She's an easy lady to work with.
Yeah, well, if everybody does that good a job, I don't have very much to worry about.
You want another run-through?
No. No, I want to go on to the scene between Patience and Hester. Is Miss Patterson ready yet?
Oh, let her take her time, Brian. I'm not exactly looking forward to that scene.
Why? You've never had any trouble playing fear before.
Brian, I'm ready. Come into the altar room. You haven't seen this makeup before. I want it to be in the proper setting.
Mom? We're ready to go.
Prince of eternal darkness, come unto me. Master of foulness, hold out thy hand. Breathe thy tongue of fire upon my face. Scorch my lips with thy searing kiss. Brand my soul with the irons of hell. I accept thee, Lord of evil. My heart yields to thy power. Euphas, Metahim, Frugativi, et Apalavi. Thus I evoke thee, Satan. Is my makeup convincing enough for you?
Very convincing, Mom.
I gotta hand it to you, Noah. You have a talent for makeup.
Well, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now, at this point in the story, Hester is aware of what's going on between Patience and Tom.
And she's not too happy about it.
But she's invoked the presence of the devil to try to help her hold on to her fiancé.
That's right. What Hester, the witch, wants to accomplish in the scene is to gaslight Patience a little bit, to give her one hell of a scare. All right? Take your places and we'll run through it. All right, everybody, this is a rehearsal, please, with camera and sound. And Joe, punch up that sound cue when I give you the cue again, all right? You ready, Paige? Yeah. Okay. And action.
Oh, did I awaken you, dearie? I'm so sorry. You were lying there so still, still as death.
Oh, I must be dreaming. You're nothing more than a nightmare. Go away.
I can assure you I'm very real. Do not deal lightly with me.
How did you get in here?
Oh, even doors with bolts are no barrier to me.
Who are you?
A woman. Not so soft and pretty as you, Patience Revere, but still a woman.
How do you know my name?
Oh, I know many things about you, more than you may care for me to know.
Away, you frighten me.
Do I strike more fear in your heart than you have ever known?
Very possibly.
What do you fear most in all the world, dearie?
Go away, please.
Is it thunder and lightning, the rage of Mother Nature?
Go away.
Or how about vermin? I've seen many a frail girl faint dead away at the sight of a field mouse. Is that it?
I warn you, do not try to harm me. I'm not alone in this house.
I wonder how badly you must quiver when a rat crosses your path.
I wish not to think of it.
Oh, I see one now. In fact, a whole pack of them. Oh, horrible, black, squealing, nibbling, scuttling. It's a rat! It's a real one!
It's all right, Paige. Come on.
All right, hold it, Paige. What's wrong?
Right. There's nothing about that in the script. Nothing about showing me a real rat.
Well, we were talking about it. A little visualization never hurt. It's only made of rubber. It's a toy.
No, you know that I have been terrified of rats ever since I was a little girl. Why did you do that to me? Why?
No, come on. That was a cruel thing to do.
I meant well, Owen, honestly.
How? By scaring Paige half to death?
Now, Paige has been showing signs of becoming a fine actress, but I felt she's been holding back. I thought something like this might get some genuine emotion from her.
Oh, was that real enough for you, Nola?
All right, Paige, let's just calm down. Now, I want to run through the scene again, and this time with no rats, I promise.
No, Brian, I've had enough. I've had enough of this browbeating from her. I'm through. Find yourself another Patience Revere.
Come in.
I need your signature, please. Thank you. Margot, I was thinking about David Henson and that he is going to see Draper again. And I've realized that there's only one thing for you to do, and that is to call Mr. Henson and tell him that everything you said about Draper was false.
Right. That's what you want me to do. Ginny, get David Henson for me, please, in New York.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, David, I can't tell you how pleased I am that the opening still exists and that Draper will be getting a second chance.
I just felt I had to give him the courtesy of an interview.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I just judged Draper on his own merits, and I know you'll make a very astute decision and that it will be the right one. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you. I can't tell you how much that means to me.
It doesn't absolutely guarantee that Draper will get the job.
No, but it will give him a fair chance, and that's all I can ask for. You're not such a bad mother after all.
Anything for you, darling.
Well, I have to get back to work.
Hello?
Hello, David.
Did you forget to tell me something, Margot?
Well, about what?
About the conversation we just had.
Why, David, what conversation?
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Oh, David, our little talk that you think took place. About my reversing my attitude on Draper? Getting the job? No, that never took place.
What?
Forget everything I just said. Now, what I told you in our original conversation stands. If and when you meet with Draper Scott, you had better find out that he is not the type of attorney you need in your firm.
Yeah, but you just said...
Look, it is a woman's prerogative to change her mind. Now, surely you should understand that. David, our little bargain is still in effect. Capiche?
Margot, you're asking me to hurt this boy twice.
All right, would you rather hurt this boy or would you rather hurt yourself?
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Simply that if you give Draper Scott your seal of approval, your wife is going to hear a few things about your past that will make you a bachelor overnight.
Margot, would you dredge up the past?
I won't, if you do as I ask.
Margot, Francine is somebody that shouldn't be hurt. She's an ill woman. She has a bad heart.
Look, if you love her, you'll do as I say, because if I call her, after she hears what I have to say, I'm afraid it would be enough to kill a healthy woman.
Margot, you're being so unreasonable.
David, this is more important to me now than ever before. Now, Draper and his wife are not going to New York. They're staying right here in Monticello. Do you understand?
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind. In frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half light, as we watch our hearts